I bet you heard that one real well. Okay. So we'll get my drink here soon. And then we'll go. And then we'll go. And then we'll go. Yes. And soon I will hook up Alpha Geek Radio. I'll be back here in a minute or so. Here we go. Maybe a lot of talking. Ugh. Okay. Wait a couple more minutes, so we'll hook up Alpha Geek Radio, then we'll get going. Okay, so recorder's hooked up. Recorder's hooked up. And now. 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 And now, a lot of NFL stuff to talk about. It's going to be fun. It's going to be very, very, very interesting, I think. Yep, that's what it will be. I am checking my levels right now. I think if I don't talk too much into the microphone. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. So, let's see. If I tilt you up like that... that might work a little bit better. Am I too loud? I'm right about there. Okay. Okay, so that's not going to hurt things. Let's go. It is possible. I know we're up on the live channel, is what you can see. At least up on video, they're Alpha Geek Radio, but I'm not certain if we're there for the radio portion. Shall wait till about the top of the hour, and then we'll try up again for the audio portion. Because it is almost time. It's almost time. It's almost time. It's almost time. Alright, the heck with it. We'll let it try and connect, but you will be able to hear the stream anyway up on live. So there we go. So let's go to say Hootsuite to do, and let's go be this. There we go. That goes to that one and say. There we go to that one too. There we go. Okay. That one's still trying to connect, but hey, heck with it. All right. It is about time to do this. So, we're ready or not? Okay, let's see what we do. Oh crap, I gotta expand that out there just a bit. Let's put that intro up to about there. It's not gonna matter what I do. Okay, fine. Okay. So 8's not gonna do. Let's take it down to about 3. Perfect. Okay. So here we go. Today is November the 3rd, 2015, and here are your headlines. There's a lot of news going on in the NFL today. I'll tell you about that a little bit later. But Team EnVyUs wins DreamHack Open. HUNDEN leaves Reason Gaming. Esports will grow into $1.9 billion in the industry by 2018. And well, we're going to talk about the age of esport players versus the age of sport players. And of course, we got a whole bunch of top 25 NFL or college football scores, and tonight the top 4 will be revealed on ESPN. So, now that you know the headlines, here we go. Welcome to the Bridge of Sports podcast from the Black Swamp Studios here in Ohio. This is show number 16. I am your host, Joe. You know the headlines. So let's get to it. We're going to start with college football. And while Ohio State was basically on a bye week, J.T. Barrett was found driving while intoxicated or under the influence of alcohol out around Columbus. He faces a judge here. I think it's today, but I'm not too concerned about that. What I'm really looking at here is he is going to forfeit his scholarship for one semester, and he might have to try to earn the starting job back from 12 gauge. So, what happened with Barrett? Like I said, he was drunk. So, after he was arrested, he had a meeting with Coach Urban Meyer, and along with some of the heads there at Ohio State. And he will not have the summer scholarship for Ohio State, which cost him over $18,000. So he's going to have to pay that. He is suspended from next week's game versus Minnesota, which I really don't see too much of a problem. I think Cardale Jones, a.k.a. 12 Gauge, I think he's going to have to do a better job at throwing the football on time and to the right spots. So, Urban Meyer in his press conference was not too concerned with Cardale Jones. And I think that was yesterday. So we will see what happens here next week. Now with that, we're going to go over the college football scores up the top 25. Keep in mind Ohio State was on a bye along with a few other teams. So West Virginia was beaten by TCU badly, 40-10. That gives them a good argument into tonight's selection. North Carolina beat number 23 Pittsburgh 26-19. Clemson, number 3 at the time, beat NC State 56-41. That was a close game. As a matter of fact, Clemson did hold control of the entire game, except for the fourth quarter where they kind of eased up a bit, and that does not look too good for Clemson when it comes to tonight's selections. Stanford beat Washington State 30-28. Wazoo almost pulled off a big-time upset here. They were setting up for a last-second field goal, did Washington State, and they missed. So Stanford, well, you're lucky, Stanford. Very lucky. Notre Dame beat Temple in a very, very close game, 24-20. Now, this did have to call for some late-game heroics on Notre Dame's defense. But still, does that give them an argument to be in the top 4? I think they're outside looking in, but I'll get to that here in a few minutes. Iowa beat Maryland 31-15. They're number 10, 8-0, but not too concerned there, at least on my part. Florida beat Georgia 27-3. How about this? Oklahoma State versus Texas Tech. 123 points was scored in the game. Oklahoma State wins 70-53. That was insane. Where was the defense on that one? Wow. In fact, they rallied to win it too. Because Texas Tech was up by 10 at the half. Oklahoma State had the third quarter lead. Texas Tech went back and forth with Oklahoma State during the fourth quarter, but Oklahoma State just pulled it out in the end. Just insanity. Utah beat Oregon State 27-12. Number 14 Oklahoma beat lowly Kansas, or Kansas, 62-7. Yikes. And the game of the day was for the Little Brown Jug on Saturday. Michigan, through some last-second heroics of their own, on defense, mind you, on defense, they beat Minnesota 29-26. This is the oldest trophy in college football. Minnesota lost the Little Brown Jug for the first time in, I want to say, about 4, maybe 5 years. So they had a hold of that Little Brown Jug there for quite a while. Memphis beat Tulane 41-13. Florida State beat Syracuse 45-21. Florida State moves to 7-1. Houston beat Vanderbilt. Houston's now 8-0. 34-0. Ole Miss starting to make a little bit of a comeback. They beat Auburn 27-19. Miami got a win over Duke. Duke, I believe, is now out of the top 25, but at the time they were 22nd ranked. And Miami wins 30-27. UCLA beats Colorado 35-31. So what happened in the top 25? Well, Ohio State still number 1 amongst the AP poll. 39 first place votes. Baylor's number 2 with 6 first place votes. Clemson's number 3 with 6 first place votes. LSU is number 4. TCU's number 5. 5 and 4 first place votes, respectively. Michigan State, number 6. Alabama 7th. And Notre Dame is 8th. Stanford and Iowa close out the top 10. Notables outside the top 10. Utah dropped to Utah now moves to 13th. Ole Miss stays at 19th. Michigan is at 16th, and I believe they stayed. No, they dropped 1. But that was a close game. And for me, locally, Toledo is at 20th. Coaches poll. Ohio State number 1, 48 first place votes. Baylor's number 2 with 9 first place votes. TCU's number 3 with 4 first place votes. LSU is 4th with 1 first place vote. Clemson's number 5 with 2 first place votes. Michigan State once again is 6th. Alabama once again 7th. Stanford's 8th. Notre Dame's 9th. And Oklahoma State is 10th. Notables: Iowa's 11th. Florida's 12th. Utah's 14th. Michigan 17th. Ole Miss 19th. Toledo 20th. So really, what's going to happen tonight? Who is going to be in the top 4? I've heard quite a few others among different radio stations. And the huge show, sorry dude, I don't exactly agree with you. I get your point about Ohio State, how they've not faced anybody, but given the fact that they have gone through quarterback controversy all year long, and they've still come out on top in every single game, and they had a blowout in their last game, I think Ohio State's going to make the Final Four, at least for this week. To me, I'm looking at, it's either going to be LSU or Alabama. I'm going to favor LSU a little bit, just because of the way that they really look, and Leonard Fournette is just a beast. Baylor, they score a lot of points. At TCU, you guys score a lot of points too. Where's your defense? Show me a defense. However, that said, I like Baylor, I like Clemson, I like LSU. I'm going to go with the AP poll on that one. And I think the coaches poll is about the same way. Well, not really, but they got Clemson mixed with TCU. But I will take Ohio State out of the Big Ten, Baylor out of the Big 12, Clemson, I believe you're ACC, and I'll take LSU out of the SEC. The notables that are looking in, and really I wouldn't be surprised if these teams do make it into the Final Four this week. TCU, Michigan State, Alabama, and I'm going to say it, Notre Dame. I would not be surprised if the Golden Domers make it into the top 4 this week. Now keep in mind, everybody, this is the first one for the year. So let's chill out a bit. And knowing the committee, what they did last year, they didn't totally adhere to what the AP and what the coaches poll did. So really, who's going to be number 1? Who's going to be number 2, number 3, number 4? And really, those are my 4 picks in any given order. I'm not ranking them 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not saying Ohio State's going to be number 1. I'm not going to say that, Clemson's going to be number 2, or LSU's going to be number 3, or Baylor's going to be number 4. I'm just saying these are the 4 teams that are going to be in as of this week. Now, let's get to some NFL. And I'm going to go through some of the news with the scores, so please bear with me here. Right now, as of last Thursday, that was the last CBS Thursday night game, everybody. The Patriots beat the Dolphins. They whooped them 36-7. Tom Brady, 356 yards, 26 for 38, 4 touchdowns. LeGarrette Blount was the top running back, 17 carries, 72 yards. And Gronk, 6 receptions, 113 yards, 1 touchdown. Those are the biggest people in that game among pass passing, rushing, and receptions. The Chiefs beat up on the Lions 45-10. That was pathetic. And I did watch that game. That was on Fox, and I could not stand it. 45-10. So Matthew Stafford was 22 of 36, 217 yards, 1 touchdown. Charkandick West, really, 20 carries, 97 yards, 1 touchdown. I'm suspecting somebody had him, or some of you fantasy players, well, you had him on your bench, and you might have hurt there a little bit. And Calvin Johnson had 5 receptions, 85 yards. Just not good for the Lions. Really, they need to have an offensive line, because they're not good. It's not Stafford. I'm sorry, it's not Stafford. It's the offensive line. It's the coaches. It's both. If this problem does not get fixed, you're going to see a serious overhaul within the coaching offices, and you might see some serious drafting coming in here next year. Buccaneers beat the Falcons 23-20. Matt Ryan, 37 out of 45, 397 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's a lot. Devontae Freeman, 21 carries, 88 yards. Julio Jones, 12 receptions, 162 yards, 1 touchdown. Cardinals beat the Browns 34-20. And there's a bit of a rumor going out there for the Browns, which I'll get to here in a minute. But Carson Palmer was 23 of 38, 374 yards, 4 touchdowns. Chris Johnson, 30 carries, 109 yards. And Michael Floyd, 4 receptions, 106 yards, 1 touchdown. Now, the Browns, for this Thursday night, they are preparing Johnny Manziel, because it may be apparent that he will start against the Bengals. Now, I'm not sure what exactly is going to happen here, but this is going to be a pretty interesting type of thing here. And also, the Browns may be trading their top lineman, Joe Thomas. But there are some offers on the table. I'm not exactly sure what those offers are. Nothing is, or actually everything is just rumors right now. There was a rumor that Joe Thomas would be traded for a first-round draft pick. But we'll see what happens. This is going to be very, very interesting as things go on here. The Rams beat the 49ers 27-6. Nick Foles, 14 of 23, 191 yards, 1 touchdown. Todd Gurley, 20 carries, 133 in yardage, 1 touchdown. And Tavon Austin, 4 receptions, 98 yards. And he got Nick Foles' only touchdown. So there you go. He was on the receiving end, basically. The Giants, they were beaten by the Saints. There was some last-second heroics here. The Saints pulled it off with the last-second field goal. Drew Brees, 39 of 50, 505 yards, 7 touchdowns. If you wasn't starting them, what were you thinking? Mark Ingram, 16 carries, 80 yards, and Benjamin Watson, 9 receptions, a $147, and 1 touchdown. It's a lot of yards. I'm just saying. The Vikings beat the Bears 23-20. Jay Cutler, 22 of 33, 211 yards, 1 touchdown. AP, 20 carries, 103 yards. Yeah. And Alshon Jeffrey, 10 receptions, 116 yards, and 1 touchdown. I don't know why Minnesota likes to throw the ball, but give it to Adrian Peterson. People, please. Chargers and Ravens. The Ravens win 29-26. Joe Flacco, 25 of 37, 319 yards, 1 touchdown. Justin Fournette, 17 carries, 69 yards. Malcolm Floyd, 4 receptions, 92 yards. And here's the kicker for fantasy points, 2 touchdowns. The Bengals beat the Steelers 16-10. Big Ben came back, but it wasn't enough. The Bengals still won 7-0, and they faced the Browns. Ben Roethlisberger, 28 of 45, 262 yards, 1 touchdown. D'Angelo Williams, 9 carries, 71 yards. And A.J. Green, 11 receptions, 118 yards, 1 touchdown. The Texans beat the Titans 20-6. There is some news here, which I will get to here in a minute. Brian Hoyer, 23 of 35, 235 yards, 2 touchdowns. Antonio Andrews, 16 carries, 64 yards. And DeAndre Hopkins, 8 receptions, 94 yards. The Tennessee Titans fired Ken Wisenhunt, their head coach. Mike Mularkey will be the interim head coach for the rest of the year. So really, what happened? Well, all you have to do is take a look at their record. You can see that they're 3-5. They have not looked good for the past couple of years. I'm sorry, that's the Texans. I'm talking about the Titans here. They're 1-6. My bad. My fault. The Titans are 1-6. And you just got blown out. You're not doing too well this year. And I think the Titans front office said, the heck with it. Wisenhunt, you're done. Now, I know what the Lost Letterman had tweeted out. There could be like 39 job openings within college football. So could Wisenhunt go back to college? I think it really depends on if he wants to deal with the stresses of working all year long in the college suit, or if he wants to work with the stresses of working all year long in the NFL side. We'll see what happens. I get a feeling that Ken Wisenhunt's going to go back to college, but I'm not too certain on that. Anyway. The Raiders beat the Jets 34-20. Sorry, Greeny. Derek Carr, 23 of 36, 333 yards, 4 touchdowns. Pretty good fantasy day. Latavius Murray, 20 carries, 113 yards. Not too shabby. And Brandon Marshall, 9 receptions, 108 yards. The Seahawks barely beat the Cowboys. This speaks nothing to me on whether or not the Seahawks are back. Nothing at all. But Russell Wilson, 19 of 30, 210 yards, 1 touchdown. Marshawn Lynch, 21 carries, 71 yards. Jimmy Graham, 7 receptions, 75 yards. Not good. Not good for any of them. And Cowboys, really? I don't think it matters right now unless you get Tony Romo back. But even then, I don't think it's going to matter then either. I think Cowboys, you're out of the playoffs. Sorry. Oh, by the way, Cowboys, they released Joseph Randle. So, they released a running back. Big whoop. To that I say, who cares? It's not like they were hurting there anyway. The Broncos and the Packers, their first loss, 29-10. Defense was a premium for the Broncos. That's why they shut down Aaron Rodgers. The Broncos' defense is just that good this year. Peyton Manning, 21 of 29, 340 yards, but he did have a turnover, 1 interception. C.J. Anderson, 14 carries, 101 yards, 1 touchdown. And Demaryius Thomas, 8 receptions, 168 yards. Peyton Manning did not throw a touchdown yet. I think he's more of a game manager anymore. And at any rate, the Colts were beaten by the Panthers last night, 29-26. Cam Newton, Superman, was 16 of 35, 248 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jonathan Stewart, how about this? 24 carries, 82 yards and 1 touchdown. That guy's making a little bit of a comeback. And Andre Johnson, 4 receptions, 81 yards, 1 touchdown. Not too bad. Not too bad. That's it for the NFL, but now we go into baseball. And congratulations, Kansas City. You got to the World Series last year, did not win. But this year, you beat the Mets really bad. You know, usually when you have pitching, you know, great pitching like what the Mets had, you win championships because defense wins championships. The Royals said, not so fast, my friend. They came out with a ton of singles. Just a ton of base hits. Got their players on base. And whenever those players got on base, pretty close to 60% of the time, 70% of the time, they scored in this World Series. And that is insane. Not a whole lot of home runs, except for when the Mets did finally show up for one game. Yeah, it was bad. But still, taking the series 4-1. That's pretty good. I like it. That's pretty cool. So, yep. A lot of happy people out in Kansas City. And there's a happy person over here. Because at Martinsville, going to NASCAR, that's right, Jeff Gordon got a win. which means he is locked in for the final race at Homestead. No matter what else happens, he is in for his Strive for 5. This is his last year. He has 4 Sprint Cup championships. 4. If he gets that 5th, that is going to be really the icing on the cake for him. I love the fact that he made it. It was really, really cool. But there was something else that went on. See, Matt Kenseth, well, he got into it there with Joey Logano at some point there during the race. I'm not exactly sure when, but Martinsville will do this to you. This is a short track where tempers will flare. I mean, people will get super, super pissed because of all the banging around, the rubbing, the racing. But Logano kind of took it personal with Matt Kenseth. So what he did was he intentionally wrecked Matt Kenseth. Oh, I'm sorry. I got the other way around. Logano pissed off Kenseth. My bad. Again, my bad. I think that's the show title. My bad. But Kenseth wrecked Logano. That's my fault. I got it backwards. I know that the two got together. But Kenseth wrecked Logano. See, Kurt Busch ended up 5th. Which is a good finisher for him. That's the first race to see who makes it to the Final 4 at Homestead. We'll see what happens here next week. This is going to be fun. Yes, it will. Okay. Now there's going to be a little bit to go on here for the sports side of things. And a couple of good topics to talk about here off the bat. Now, I know I've been keeping an eye on what the projections are for esports. And it seems like they've been adjusted again. Esports has been projected to grow into $1.9 billion for the esports industry by 2018. Now let's think about this. You have right now the number one, let's say, prize money pool in Dota 2. They're giving away this year nearly $19 million. That's a lot of money. Now, BlizzCon in itself, if you're looking at the all 4 WCS championships, they're giving away close to $4 million. And I think once all the prizes are delved out, there'll be somewhere around the $5 to $6 million range. Along with, that's with all the opens for Heroes of the Storm, the opens for Hearthstone, the same with StarCraft and Warcraft. But that's still a lot. Now, according to the article that I'm reading, that's from casino.org. So we'll take this with a grain of salt. They're saying that Super Data says it expects the industry to be worth some $748 million by the end of the year. So how did this happen? Right now you have ESL Gaming and you have the esports.com. I think that's the site. esports.com. And really, with these two entities coming into esports, and with Blizzard hiring a former ESPN executive, and with some of a whole bunch of other tournaments going on, giving out $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $1 million, $2 million. This is driving up demand. People want to get into these games to see how well they do. So could really this industry, how far could this industry go? Right now, we do not know where the top of the hill is. Right now, all we can see is up. And up is where it will go until we get a feeling of these esports coming down. Now keep in mind, esports, the viewing of esports starting out in Korea. It expanded over to China and Japan. It grew from there to where we in the US are really the last big boost, I think. So I think if we use that as kind of the litmus test, it really depends on how much we as Americans take a hold, and North America, Canada, and I'd say Central America with Mexico and so on and so forth down there. It really depends on how much we take a hold of esports. So this boom, I really I'm encouraged by the news, but I don't know if it'll get there or not. It'll be close, but I don't know if it'll get there or not. Now, there is another article that I'm going to post up here in the notes. It's called Enter the Arena. But what this talks about is the overall age of pro players for esports. Note this. There are some players that dropped out of high school just to be pro players because they see these pots and they're growing into these huge dollar amounts. And these teams, because I see it every week, these teams tend to move and shuffle around with different people. So The age really stems from high school, right around the 16-year-olds, right up to about 22, 24-year-olds. The average life of an NFL player is right around 32, roughly. I should say that's on average. So you're starting younger and you're ending younger than what normal, and I'm using NFL athletes as an example. Okay, I want to be clear on that because the normal age of an athlete can vary greatly. So great, in fact, that there's some that are still competing in their 70s and 80s. And really, I would not doubt that you could actually see some esport players be doing the same thing, coming back at a later age saying that, I'm not done. But right now, people are... I think the reason why the ages are so young is because these players know that there's life ahead of them beyond esports. Whereas if you're going into pro sports, whether it be NBA, NFL, golf, whatever, those people, they don't plan out that far ahead sometimes. Some of them do, some of them don't. But I think that if esport players, they need to really plan out ahead. Really, you shouldn't drop out of high school just to be an esport player. Just make sure you get all your homework done. Just saying. But I think that this just gives a real good feeling on how old these players are. Alright, so let's get into tournaments. We're on the back half of the show. We need to get into some tournament talk and some players that moved around. Gaming announces a $50,000 CSGO invitational. See, that's tournaments like this. It's going to drive up demand. Now, last Monday, Gaming will be hosting Red Dot, a CSGO invitational tournament with a $50,000 prize pool that they announced here last Monday. And the teams that have been invited so far are Team EnVyUs, Titan, Solomid, and Dignitas. Now we'll get to EnVyUs here in a minute. Actually, we'll get to them right now because I was watching them on Twitch, and they were facing off against, I think it was Navi, Nata Spencer. And within the DreamHack Open, I only watched the first game because they're playing like 30 matches in one set, and I just couldn't watch that far. Besides, Blizzard was starting up with their tournaments. I have priorities. I'm just saying. But EnVyUs was taking it to Nata Spencer in this CSGO tournament in that first series. So it's not a surprise that EnVyUs beat Natus Benseer in the DreamHack Open. So, and that really appeared to be a really good series with 30 games on one map. No, something needs to be done there. That's not too watchable for me. But still, good job to EnVyUs. You got $50,000. You're $50,000 richer. That's a pretty good sized trophy too, if you've seen it. Now, staying with some team movement, Doublelift released CLG, and CLG was turned around and was acquired by Team Solo Mid. Now, Counterlogic Gaming has announced that they will be releasing Peter Doublelift Peng from the roster due to conflicts between the organization and the player. Minutes after the announcement, Team Solo Mid said he would be joining their roster as starting the ad carry. Doublelift replaces Jason Wild Turtle Tran, who joined TSM in February 2013. So shuffling like this does happen from time to time. And really, I don't know what happened. I tend to think that there was some arguments as far as what the team organization was going with Counterlogic Gaming. So if there's arguments within the team, somebody's got to go. But apparently Team Solo Mid thinks that they can be able to handle, you know, what was going on, and you know, we'll see what happens here. Now, somebody, like I said, HUNDEN leaves Reason Gaming. Nikolai HUNDEN Peterson has left Reason's Gaming's Danish team. He said in a tweet, "I have decided to step down from @Reason Gaming after all those lineup changes. Let us hope the future brings some more CS." Wink. You know, if you don't tend to agree with what a team is doing, you have that option to leave. And I really do think that if you have that option, if you don't like with where a team is going, you should be able to go. So we'll see what happens. Now, on to Dota 2. Got a couple things here for Dota 2. Alliance qualifies for the WCA 2015. Alliance is headed to World Cyber 2015, and they're looking to be about $8,000 richer. Because they went to the WCA Europe Finals against Team Empire, and well, they punched their ticket to China for the main event in December. So congrats to them. The tournament in China, the WCA in China, will start December 17th and will finish on December 21st. The tournament features an approximate $650,000 prize pool. It's a lot of money. And this kind of goes into the Dota 2 file, but it's also an update of what's been going on with Ninjas in Pyjamas, with the fraud case that's going on. The owner of Ninjas in Pyjamas was found guilty of carelessness over accounting violations. So basically, the fraud accusations have essentially come true. Emil Heaton Christensen has been given a probation along with low fines, while an unnamed second former owner has been sentenced to community service for a time period equivalent to the 2 months in prison. Neither was found to be responsible for the accounting violation in question. So really, the story does kind of go on, but this was more negligence on Heaton's point. Or on Heaton's part. Once again, my bad. So we'll see what happens. Now we get to all of the Blizzard stuff, which means I'm going to start out with Heroes of the Storm. Gonna go backwards here in my things, but hey, that's alright. Cloud9 and Nada advanced to the semifinals in Heroes of the Storm. What looks to be very interesting to me is what's going to happen here, I think, in Group B. If Braveheart gets beaten by Tempo Storm, we're going to see a rematch between Team DK, which was my dark horse, and Tempo Storm, which one of the ones that I thought could make it to the finals. But man, it looks really difficult for them. I knew Nada Spencer was going to be there, and I knew Cloud9 was going to be there. But now the other part is going to be between, in Group A, Team Dignitas. They'll be awaiting the winner of Team YL and GIA. GIA was just blown out by Cloud9 2-0. Dignitas was also beaten by Cloud9 2-1. Dignitas is an okay, I'd say semi-strong team, but they're not going to get past Cloud9 regardless of what they do. I think the first one eliminated will be Braveheart. So I would not be shocked right now if it was Tempo Storm. Now, I'm not sure who's going to play first. Actually, I think Group A is going to play first, which means isn't Team YL versus GIA is going to be a really close match, I think. This one is going to be really tough to call. Compositions really is going to play out here. I'm really looking at this. Given that Team YL gave Dignitas a run, I think it's going to be Team YL versus Dignitas again. Then you're going to see Dignitas, I think, against Cloud9. So the final four for me will be Cloud9 versus Dignitas. And I think it's going to be Team DK versus Natas Fancier, EnVy versus Cloud9, and like I said on the Your Wow Money podcast, it's going to be Cloud9, but it's going to be close. I like Cloud9 over Natas Fancier, but it's going to be insanely close. Now let's go into Hearthstone. The World Championships, the quarterfinals have been set. This will face off against Kranich, Osaka versus Pinbingo, Daiming versus No, Zoro versus Hot Form. I said Hot Form because really it's a pick'em to me. I mean, I kind of looked at the Hearthstone tournament here last weekend, and Hot Form really did look good for me. That's why I'm choosing him. But there's a lot of other players that could really take this. You have No with 7 wins. You have Zoro with 6 wins. Pimbingo has 8 wins. This has 6 wins but 1 loss. So that could be really, really cool. We'll see what happens. Now for World of Warcraft. SK Gaming is in the Final Four, along with Skilled Cap EU. So who's going to make it versus SK Gaming? Original Gangster, you were eliminated. So it's going to be Temple Storm versus Solari Gaming. And Temple Storm beat Solari Gaming the first go round 2-0. So I think it's going to be Temple Storm versus SK Gaming another go round in Group A. So give me Temple Storm versus SK Gaming. Cloud9 was beaten by Skill Cap, and I picked Cloud9 because I thought that they were unstoppable with their composition for World of Warcraft. But man, Skill Cap just took them out. So they will face off against Follow Esports. I still like Cloud9 versus Follow Esports. And I'm going to stick with Cloud9 in the championship, but I really don't like that selection anymore. I really don't. And for StarCraft, you have Hero versus Classic, Innovation versus Life. That's going to be a really, really good game. I think Rain versus SOS, and Hydra versus Rogue. Could Innovation defeat Life? Life came out against Little Bo and was just ruffle stomping Little Bo. Innovation came out against Zest and was ruffle stomping over Zest. It was just bad. It was horrible. This could be the game of the quarterfinals. I think I chose Life to win it all. I'm going to stick with it. I think Life will beat Innovation in a really close match. This could be a really fast match if it goes Life's way. And, yeah. We'll go with, we'll stick with Life. Of course, BlizzCon is going to have all of the WCS championships, and you got to have the virtual ticket if you want to see it. If you don't want to see it, well, all I can say is listen to the Your Wild Money podcast. We will be giving those results live as they come. I can tell you that right now. But, yep, they will all be done on Friday and Saturday of BlizzCon. If you have the virtual ticket, check them out on the virtual ticket. If you have not Dish Network. No, I can't think. I cannot think. I apologize. But if you have some satellite TV, you might be able to pick it up there. Otherwise, it's not done by cable. You're gonna have to get the virtual ticket to watch these different tournaments. Sorry, guys. Alright, so now we're coming to the end here, so we're gonna have to go through League of Legends here real quick. Nukeduck re-signs with Team ROCCAT. Erland Nukeduck Home has extended his contract with Team ROCCAT for the 2016 EU LCS season. He is the third member of ROCCAT to re-sign with the organization. Both jungler Marcus Jankowski and support Oscar Vander Bogdan has also confirmed their return on October 14th. If you're on a good team, you like the people that's within that team, you want to stay with that team, and I think that's what's going on here. So that was probably a pretty easy signing there for ROCCAT. Edward Gaming has won the fan vote and will be representing China at the Intel Extreme Masters. That's what Intel announced Friday. See, Intel, that's pretty big stuff. So, yeah. So they are going to the IEM Intel for League of Legends. So good luck to them. The IEM Cologne takes place from December 18th to December 20th in Cologne, Germany. So you can check that out on Twitch, I believe. Brokenshard named Team Dignitas' new head coach. Ram Brokenshard Jimal has been named Team Dignitas' new head coach for the organization, announced on Friday. They said it was great to have Brokenshard on board to help push us forward into the next season. The organization said in its press release, "We have already had a great amount of success with Brokenshard as our coach for a former EU squad, and we look forward to seeing what he can do to our NA squad moving forward." So essentially, he is going to be for Team Dignitas in the North America part. Dignitas may be expanding their reaches. Missouri College, this is pretty cool. Missouri College will offer scholarship to League of Legends players. Now keep in mind, we said that players were dropping out of high school to play esports. This is huge for Missouri College. You offer scholarships because you're looking at Heroes of the Storm, because they did tournaments there for scholarships, and what Hearthstone did. with some of the college grant people. So why not? You want to be a Missouri Tiger? Go for it. Once again, I will post these articles up in the show notes. And the last thing for me for the show is the World of Tanks Super 6 Season 16 tournament is going to happen. First place is going to get 8,000 gold. Second place, 6,000 gold. Third and fourth, 4,500. 6 through 8 is going to get 2,500. And 9 through 16 is going to get 1,500 gold. And some of the maps have also been revealed. As Shepherd Lane, Steps, Mines, Lakeville, Enzig, and Hemmelsdorf. So we shall see what goes on once again. And by the way, the registration is open. Game day number 1 will be in 8 days, 9/11. Game day number 2 will be 12/11, and game day 3 will be 13/11. So to everybody who wants to enter for the World of Tanks, go get it done, and good luck. The show can be found on alphageekradio.com, channel 3 at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and is also on bumblebeenet.com/live at 3 p.m. as well, sometimes before that. You can find the show on iTunes. Please give us a 5-star rating, and on Stitcher, give us a thumbs up there as Bumblebee Net. Just look for Bumblebee Net as the feed. All of the podcasts for the Bridge of Sports is up on bumblebeenet.com as well. You can find us on Twitter at BumblebeeNet for the network, at Bridge of Sports for the show, and I am at Joe Brums. You can find out what all I'm doing up on Twitter as well. On Facebook, we are at Bridge of Sports. My email is joe@bumblebeenet.com. That's it, guys. You just crossed the Bridge of Sports. I hope you guys had fun, because I know I did. We shall see all of you guys later. And you can check out the Your Wild Money podcast up on bumblebeenet.com, 3 p.m. on Saturdays. Especially this week, because we're going to be talking a lot about BlizzCon and some of the WCS tournaments that's going on there too. So until then, I am Joe, and you've just crossed the Bridge of Sports. Bye, guys. This show is a part of the Bumblebee Network. You can find out more information about this show or the network at bumblebeenet.com. That is BUMBLEB net.com.
This podcast recorded before a live internet audience. To learn how to listen and watch live, visit tunein.alphageekradio.com.
And that's it. That's the end of the show. And we'll see you guys later. Sorry, Alpha Geek Radio. I couldn't get your work in there. But hey, it's alright. That's done. And as are we on the video. Goodbye, guys. And ESPN comes on tonight, 7 or 7:30, I'm not exactly sure which. So we'll see what happens. Guys, I'm going to stop the stream, get things rolling here for the podcast, get it up and loaded, and I got stuff to do. So, till then,